Grave here. I'm mostly just gonna talk about my thoughts about a couple of the factions I play and one I'm starting to pick up. I started playing Mech and what was that? The Curses Before the Sisters Codex. When I first started playing, I was thinking between AdMech, Sisters, and Thousand Suns. Went Sisters because they were just easiest to try getting into. Yeah, these are the ones I'm going to talk about. If you want a full exhaustive breakdown of the data slate, there's much better videos to go and talk about that. I just want to talk about the ones that I like. Sisters have got some interesting points, mostly just minor points, tweaks. I'd love for the Cascade to go down another 10 points. Paragons, I think they're fine. If they won't drop them at all, I think that this is not going to be controversial, but Morven should go up by the same amount that they go down. Repenta just seems to be a typo. I think they left that in from the last balance pass because they're still the same points. Retributor Squad is nice with their new rule. Seraphim going down is nice. They're now tied with Zephyrim. Immolator is nice. Everyone uses that. Just great to use. Castigator, great to use. The Exorcist will probably stay where it is because indirect fire. Junith is nice going down. Uh, so Champions of Faith got a detachment change. This has been a long time coming. This felt bad when they did the first balance pass with the sisters to knock out the miracle dice, and then right after gave us a miracle dice hunger detachment. I felt that it was just a bad Army of Faith, and I still think it's a slightly worse Army of Faith now. It still gives you the plus two the move, I think plus one OC, and plus one ballistic and weapon skill for Paragon, Sacrosaints, and Battle Scissor Squad. Um, and that it is still select up to 3 units. They become your blessed, or they become your righteous units. As a whole, it's not a terrible detachment anymore. It's still not something I'd pick over Hallowed Martyrs or Army of Faith. Army of Faith I like just because being able to generate more miracle dice. Uh, Hallowed Martyrs is great because Sisters is an army of attrition, so you it's very useful when you lose half the Battle Sister squad and now everything is hit wound. Your multi melt and meltagun are now wounding uh, anything that's tougher than them on like three. Anything that's higher than strength will toughness 9 on 3s. That's nice. Uh, Zephyrim really had a nice change. Well, two nice changes. They dropped the miracle dice requirement, so it's now just flat out on the charge. And they also remove the weapon restriction from just power weapons to all melee weapons, which is really nice for certain units. The jump cannoness can now use the halberd or the power weapon. You can use the eviscerator too, but you're not going to get the sustain bonus. You're going to just get lethals because the eviscerator already has sustained on it. But at the same time, I think you'd probably go halberd now just because you get the bonus plus the Canis is innate plus 3 attacks and dev wound bonus once per game. Celestine's another one that can benefit because before was just her little Gemini. Now she gets the bonus on her blade, which is nice, giving it lethal and sustained. Uh, Generally, it's nice, and I like running this unit with in Army of Faith, giving them the Lance, the stratagem for Lance. Retributor is a decent one. It replaces sort of replaces their old rule. Gives them rerolls of 1 to hit and wound, and add 1 to hit and wound if it's targeting something that destroyed another one of your units. That's good. It can overlap and basically not do anything in Hallowed Martyrs. Problem with that though is that you're probably never going to get to use them effectively in Hallowed Martyrs. I say that because Hallowed Martyrs is dependent on how many units are in the how many models are in the unit. You're looking at if it's below starting strength +1 to hit, if it's below half strength +1 to wound. A 5 model unit is not going to last long. Even you'd have to give them what was it? The Magifier was it? You'd have to give them a leader that gives them. You'd like have to give them a Hospitaller or something else to give them a better invuln save. Hospitaller is most likely choice because you can actually manage the how many models are in the unit, so you could probably do that there. But again, it's a 5 model unit of toughness 3 bodies, 1 wound each. You're not going to last long to any actual targeting. So I don't think that's a relevant point to throw in. As a whole, it's really nice, especially with their points drop down to 115. Problem is, you can still get roughly the same amount of damage out of, say, a Dominion squad. Not because, well, while you're losing out on another 2 multi-meltas, so 4 shots, you are able, if you're in Hall of Martyrs, you can get the full bonus of it because you got a larger unit. Otherwise, it's just a really nice change. I would have liked to see them get a reroll a damage roll in there as well. That would have been nice because you're mostly going to either want them with flamers or multi-meltas. Multi-meltas if you want them hunting tanks. Flamers if you want them hunting infantry. Just depends on what you're targeting. Well, it depends what you're trying to build them for, I guess. A lot of that is dependent on matchup. But, yeah, all in all, nice to change. AdMech got some nice just quality of life ones. The Halo Screed enhancement for the Castellan robots got cut in half price-wise. And that's mostly just related to the robots finally getting the army rule. For the most part, most common detachment is Skitaria Hunter or the Halo Screed. Skitaria Hunter, you were already filling your list with Bellistari and Dragoons, and everyone brought the Disintegrator because it's good anti-tank. The robots and the Datasmith finally getting the attachment rule, and as such, Cohort Cybernetica, or as they sort of flipped it around in the Balance Dataslate, Cybernetica Cohort, funny, it is now a +1 OC and +2 to move for Legio Cybernetica, which is just 2 units. Well, effectively 1 unit because if you're running the Castellans, you're going to run the Datasmith. You're losing out on a lot more just by not running a Datasmith with at least 2 robots. And well, you have if you're running the Datasmith, he dies if he doesn't get attached to robots. And robots really lose out on a lot of their bonuses if they don't have a Datasmith. The enhancement for the Datasmith had his wording changed around to just be the Halo override keyword. That just goes in line with the datasheet change. Cybernetica Cohort, I would have loved to actually see the army rule, the attachment rule be expanded to vehicles. Because everything else in that attachment is vehicle or Legio Cybernetica, and the robots themselves are already walkers and vehicles. So that would just simplify things a little bit, but at the same time, is what it is. They got a new unit, really good cheap action monkey. Just for random things, 60 points each for 9 models. Default, it's a bolter, arc rifle, 1 Mechanicus pistol, and the rest of the unit has phosphor blasters. You can swap up to 3 of the blasters for a flamer. You can swap 1 of the blasters for a melt-a-gun. Overall, pretty nice. You can just ignore the combat thing because you're the melee weapons because you're not taking them in combat. As a whole, it's a really nice unit for just doing actions because they can advance and do an action. If I'm reading this correctly, because the Underseer is a Tech Priest model, And because the rule is, well, it contains a tech priest model, I'm assuming that is correct. So they can, without a character, they can go for 60 points, run, advance over through the board, do an action, and still be eligible to shoot with their long range guns. That's really nice. It's an interesting unit. Uh, Shooting will go up to 3 up because Protector Imperative adds 1 to the ballistic skill characteristic. And that's also not including if they manage to stay still and you don't need them to do an action, they get heavy. That won't apply to the igniters, but it'll apply to everything else. Arc rifle is rather decent because of anti-vehicle. That's just really good. It'd be better if it had dev wounds, but you would not see dev wound skill on a 60-point unit. I'm surprised they even left the arc. They even gave them an arc rifle. Grey Knights, you're not really going to see much changes for Grey Knights because they got a codex coming up. Dropping for a point drop for the champion is rather nice. The Terminator squads, you're not going to really care about the point drops for the max size unit. You rarely ever see them run anything higher than 5-man. Beyond that, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could run them in 10-man units. It's just not very point efficient, or I mean, you could. They're on your rule. They can jump up and down and do all sorts of things. It's just you're not going to really see them in 10-man units often. They had a Grey Knight rule change to the Warpbane Task Force. I think it's mostly just a wording change, or it's just a bug change to fix the fact that like, every so often, if you charge into something, you could just be trying to hit someone through a wall. And they wanted to fix it so that line of sight isn't necessary for melee because in combat, you can fight through walls and all that. Thousand Suns got their codex and the expected erratas. I expected this for the Daemon Prince with Wings. As for the FAQs, I thought the second one was very evident in the writing of it, where you only took the mortals on triples or doubles. But the first one, where it's after you roll the first 2, you can choose to roll a third. I thought you had to roll all 3 at once. But this is nice. That's a nice change so that you don't have to open yourself up to perils of the warp if you don't want to or don't need to. If you want me to keep doing this, throw something down in the comments or whatever. Otherwise, I may or may not keep doing stuff like this. Until next time, have a blessed day.